Carl and Damon here from Games, Brains, and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. And it's They Made What into a movie. And I'm laughing already because to talk about this film is to talk, I don't know, to talk about this, to review this film is pointless, I think, to a degree. Like to talk about this and analyze this film, it doesn't make a lot of sense because right. I watched this, right, and at the end of it, I was so conflicted with so many different feelings. I came home and had to talk to my wife about it, and I was just like, Lou, what happened? I was lost because I feel like, on one hand, to be critical of a Minecraft movie is to miss the point completely of it. But then on the flip side, what the fuck are we doing if we can't criticize something that is not good at a core tenet? Now, that brought me to a question. I'm going to begin with this. It is a question that I don't want you to think about too hard, but I just want you to answer from honestly, answer from your heart what you believe your answer is. Because I think everyone's answer is different. Damon, what to you makes a film bad? Is like what's one thing that you think makes a film bad that when you sit down to watch it means you're just likely to come away going that was a bad film? Is there one thing?
Well, I think the first obvious one is poor casting straight away.
Well, again, no, right. So let me ask again, right? It's not, you said the obvious thing. I don't want you to think about what's the obvious thing. I want you to think about what you feel here. Because this is the big thing, right? I've gone back and forth in this. I could talk about a Minecraft movie, right? From an analytical cast, visuals, characters, all the stuff, right, that makes a film.
Mm.
But in my heart, does that make it a bad film? Now, this is what I'm saying. It's a difficult question. So, like, yeah. So, like, try like, is in your heart. Like, I don't know what the right word is. Like, I'm looking
Yeah,
for, but you know,
I think I get what you mean, but I mean, if you my honest opinion,
yeah.
if we're not going about like the cast and all that, it's just the
Well,
fact that I don't see how this game was made into a film. There's certain games which can be films. But I just don't get. I played Minecraft. I've completed it. I've completed every achievement in the game, and I don't get it. I didn't get the film. I don't get the hype. I mean, I know it's obvious why it's made the billions and billions and billions
hmm,
because children around the world are going to go mental over this film, of
yeah,
course, and the adults. But for
yeah.
me personally, I I didn't get it. I just didn't get it.
Right, so you didn't get it. See, that's really interesting because I didn't either, and I don't think many people really do either. And I know it sounds insulting to sounds insulting, but what I mean is, I don't think there was a point. I think the biggest problem a Minecraft movie suffers is that everybody seems to think there was either a point to it or there was no point to it, and
Mm.
that at its core, I think, right. So basically, going back to my question, for me, my answer is this: was I entertained? Now, the problem with that is that can come in so many different forms. I can be entertained by things that are dramatic, things that are serious, things that tell a good story, but I can also be entertained by things that are nonsense, right? That's the
Mm.
point, right? And I went back and forth throughout a Minecraft movie about whether I was entertained or not. And that's when you start having to break it down, which is what we're about to do in this. It is a
Mm.
bit of a puzzle of a film. You're right. All right, it didn't make billions, but fuck me, did it make a lot of money. And that's the absurdity of it all. But then, of course, it was going to, because after watching it, I generally couldn't believe that I had ever thought this wouldn't, that this was made with mass appeal, and that was it. It was. We're going to get in for some of the laziest aspects where they literally went, "Oh, you know what?" And I don't know. I think the writers, the directors, everybody involved were very smart.
Mm.
They cottoned onto what a audience wanted. They got lucky in some
Yeah.
regards. They got lucky by accidentally stumbling or like having people adopt the viral trend, which then helped it even further. They got lucky with elements of that, but a lot of it was just smart thinking of how to sell and market a movie and just deliver mindless entertainment. However, that is not what I look for in my films. Now, this is a video game adaptation, so I am going to give it a lot of leeway. I am going to give it a lot of leeway because this is a difficult world. We know this. I know these days you don't get as much leeway as you used to because we actually are getting good stuff. So you can't really get away with giving us average stuff. However, when it sits in the younger audience side of things, put it this way, I'm going to be straight up with this, Dame. I will take a Minecraft movie over an Angry Birds movie any day of the week. And one of them is actually trying to tell a story and all of that, but one of them is more
Yeah.
entertaining and memorable, and that's the thing, right? Right. Um, I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about this film. That's the thing. When I think about it now, I think, oh, that was quite fun. That was quite cool. And I like that. And that made me laugh and this, whatever. And then I'm also like, oh, I hated that sequence and I hate that scene. And then I'm like, the main characters, we're going to get into the characters as we go along, were trash. In particular, two, well, three, I'd argue, more than any other. And then I'm like, did it look good? I'm like, well, yeah, but also then I'm like, what was this? Now,
Mm.
I think it is absolutely brilliant that they somehow took Minecraft and made something out of it. However, while that is praiseworthy, what they made out of it isn't very good from a story perspective. And I'm I haven't come across anyone saying this yet, right? And I'm just a little bit, and I know it's kind of like not, it's only slightly aligned, but
Yeah.
how are we not seeing the kind of end, the story of this as a rip-off of Warcraft? Now, I'm talking about Warcraft the movie, which is
Mm.
about a load of a hellscape world trying to come through a portal into a nice world. I know it's a basic idea, but even with the portals and the big sort of overarching monstrous creature, like, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I know it seems like a reach, but like to
yeah.
me, I was just like, this is Warcraft, the movie. And that's not something I
Yeah.
want to compare you to. You don't need you look like you don't even remember Warcraft the movie, which is a terrible fucking thing.
No,
And it wasn't very good.
I can remember. All I remember is some geezer falling in love with some bird or ogre, I think, with some big teeth, and she looked very sexualized. I think, if I remember, and a king got killed, and she. I don't remember.
I mean, that is some of it. Yeah, that is some of it. Yes. Okay. Right, we are going to get to the Minecraft movie. We're going to talk it through, and we're going to talk about the major points as we go through, moments where I guess I highlight some of the more feelings. So hopefully we can express ourselves better as to how we actually feel it. So it is a Minecraft movie. It comes directed by Jared Hess, and it was written by. Okay then, hold on, people. Chris Bowman, Hubert Pullman, Neil Widnier, Gavin James, and Chris Scaletta, who adapted it from a story by Alison Schroeder, Bowman, and Palmer. Yes, that is a mass of writers,
Yeah.
which is never a good sign. And don't get me wrong, the film tells you as you watch through it, you can
Yeah.
tell, you can tell it was a mess because it is disjointed and a lot of the time just feels like scene stuck together with really no rhyme or reason. It's a film of moments, really more than
Yeah.
anything else, you know? A budget of $150 million, which seems quite cheap in comparison now, but I suspect it probably didn't spend loads on the cast. They got away with a bit of that.
Yeah.
Box office. $954 million. You are looking at one of the most successful video game movie adaptations ever. Dave, here's the thing. You shake your head, and I agree. I don't want this to be the ones that are successful, like super successful.
Yep.
But I do want it to be successful. But I realize I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to get, right? I'm not going to get Castlevania getting all the awards and the money and all of that. I'm not, because it's too niche. These
Mm.
are the ones that are successful, super successful, are the ones that have widespread appeal. Simple as that.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do that in about a year or two, Minecraft the movie two, and then Minecraft three, and then four, and then
I believe it's
10.
called, I believe it's got a working title of another Minecraft movie.
Yep, and
Of course.
they will milk it. Just like Mario, they're gonna milk it, and Sonic, they'll milk it until it dries up bone.
Right. I am going to push back. I will be pushing back against Damon a lot on this, I reckon, because I think we might have a little bit of conflicting views, but I'm going to push back there. You're absolutely right. But Mario is already a 2-year-old film and we still haven't had the new one. So that is a decent gap for sequels. You can't have it both ways, and I'm about to call you out on this. Damon, at the end of this year, we're finally going to get the Mortal Kombat sequel. What, 6 years after the original?
Yep.
Which is it? how do you see what I'm saying? Like, I know you don't want to like, we either want these films when they're successful to get sequels, or we don't. You see what I'm saying? Like, what's an acceptable time frame to you? To me, as long as they've got a good idea and a good story, I don't really care. And the
Yeah.
Sonic movies, let's be honest, right? They have been good. And they
Mm.
haven't churned them out. They've not been every year. They've been, hell, like you're a big Lord of the Rings fan. They churned those movies out 3 years in a row. And I know it's because they made them all together. I know that. I know
Yeah.
that. But what's the Hobbit's excuse? And you like the Hobbit, right?
It's part of the Lord of the Rings world. So
It
of
fucking
course,
sucks. The Hobbit
of course.
sucks. Aside from the man that plays Bilbo Baggins, who is just simply fabulous.
Yeah, Morgan
Anyway,
Freeman.
off topic.
Yeah,
As Morgan
Martin Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. Yes, but yes,
Yeah.
off topic. Yes. Yeah. Like I'm
No,
not. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just saying like, why does it matter if it's still going to be good? You know?
yeah. I mean, as for sequels, you maybe every other year, probably maybe every 2 years. I think it's reasonable.
I think it
'Cause,
depends what it is. I think it depends what it is, right? If it's like an
yeah,
animated film, I'd kind of hope that they could do a little bit better. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Like we've been heavily critical of The Last of Us for the gaps between season 1 and 2 and what's looking like likely to be an insane gap, a guaranteed gap of at least another year. Who knows if not longer between 2 and 3. I am just now more these days leaning towards look, if you've got the money, you've got the resources. Because remember, films and stuff are made quickly or quicker
mm,
because of resources. Now, the idea, I guess, is second Minecraft film would have a lot of resources, a
yeah,
similar, if not higher budget. Because, like, do you know the story, right? I can tell you what the story should be already.
mhm.
You ready for it?
Yeah, go on.
The Minecraft world starts to fully invade Earth.
Yeah,
There you go. And that means you're going to
yeah,
be interacting more real life stuff with more the Minecraft sort of stuff. There's a crossover.
yeah,
But hey, oh, there we go. Right cast. Jason Momoa as Garrett, the garbage man at Garrison. Saying it, the best thing in this film, in my opinion. The best actor, the funniest character, the best character, the one who actually feels like he might have a story is Garrett. Also, listen, it's Jason Momoa, and even if you don't like his acting, whatever, I mean, Jesus, you don't get much prettier than that, do you? You know, let's be honest.
uh, that's about all he's got. But yeah, but I do agree. Come on, I mean, look at his roles. Yeah, other than I mean, Game of Thrones, where he barely speaks in it, he's
Yeah, but that was
averaging that.
that was kind of his debut breakout
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
No, I'm not
Aquaman,
buying this right.
Aquaman
No.
4,
Yeah, but no, but yeah,
Aquaman
but
was terrible.
I've not seen any Aquaman films, but like I've only seen the ones with Batman and all of that. But that's
Mm.
again, a lot of that's down to right. No, I like Jason Momoa. I think he's a good actor. I think Khal Drogo has grown up a lot, and I like him in this. Fair enough
I
if you
mean,
don't, but I do.
I agree. He is the best thing about this film, 100%.
Jack Black as Steve. Right, let's talk about it. I'm going to stop here. Right, here's the deal. I've got no beef for Jack Black. Yes, we are currently in, or well, we were briefly in a period of oversaturation of Jack Black. Chill, people, because with a Mario movie, he's voicing Bowser. With this, with a lot of stuff for Jack Black. And then, unfortunately, during that period in time, there was a real life thing on stage regarding his bandmate, friend of Tenacious D that didn't paint him in a great light. I'm not really going to get into that because, hey, that's a different side of things. And I think you can have your own opinion on that and it not affect how you see him as an actor.
Mhm.
So I'm going to judge him on this role. And basically, it's this. First off, it's Jack Black. So, you know what you get? Energy and excitement. And he's always good. He is always good at what he does. However, I am highly critical of him this. Do you know why? Because this is Jack Black playing the most Jack Black of characters to the
Yeah,
point where I actually got annoyed at a certain point and went, oh, what are we even doing here? But then I also got stuck on this. What is the character of Steve? There is no character.
yeah,
So it's not like I can be like, oh, that's not the Steve I know. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, right?
I
And I
know.
was like, well, what difference does it make what Jack Black does? Maybe the idea of Steve should be it's anyone and any it is you, it's me, it's you, it's anyone. It is Jack Black. So I went back and forth from this because I'm like, I like Jack Black, and I didn't mind him in this film. But then I was also like, my God, he is just doing Jack Black stuff. like the most Jack Black stuff. Like even like, hey, I'm just randomly breaking out into singing and stuff like that, and all of this and all of that. But then I was like, do I dislike that? Why do I dislike it? And I was like, I don't know if I really do. And I came out and said, there is no character. So what difference does it make what he does, right?
I think I think you know the problem is the fact that minus maybe one or two films, he plays the same character in every film. School of Rock, he's
Yeah,
Jack Black. You know, Jumanji, he's Jack Black.
yeah.
He's not his character. He's the I don't know. He's the Kevin Hart of him. You know, the old
The
hand
Kevin
waving.
Hart of him.
Yeah, the hand waving and making jokes and they got here's a song, here's a song. Let's sing
Yeah.
about fucking chicken and lava char. Flipping saw that song.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. He
Uh,
amongst there's a reason why all these actors have been recently grouped together and often in comedic roles. It's because
yeah,
they all play themselves. You use Jumanji as the best example. We have The Rock playing The Rock, Dwayne Johnson playing Dwayne Johnson. We have Kevin Hart playing Kevin Hart, and we have Jack Black playing Jack Black. I can't remember the what her name is. She's from Doctor Who. Um,
yeah. The
Karen,
chip off the
Karen,
eye.
Karen Gillian, Karen Gillian. My
Yeah, yeah,
apologies. That sounds almost sounds because obviously she's fabulous, but she's different because she's got a wider range of roles. Like she's from Guardians of the Galaxy as Nebula and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So like she is good. Do you know what I mean? But like I know what you're saying. That trio of male comedy actors all tend to play themselves, but Jack Black can do great stuff. He has, and I'm not saying he even is bad here. I don't think he's bad. I think there's one or two times where I actually thought like that's really good or that's
Mm.
really funny and stuff like that. But like I just didn't want to see Jack Black being Jack Black, but that's what I got.
Yeah.
And then to what I now consider to be the three worst characters. We have Sebastian Hansen as Henry, a young teenage boy going through problems at school with bullies and maybe bullies sort of and having to find his place in the world told in the laziest way possible. To the point where even the film gets bored of it and just stops bothering with it and then rushes to a resolution at the end that's like, wait, what? Like, I thought, and the thing is, you know what? Sebastian Hansen's a fine actor, doesn't really do anything bad. It's the writing.
Do you know who do you know who he reminded me of? Okay, and
Go on.
the whole like sequence of him. It reminded me of like the basis of the never-ending story.
Yeah,
You got the kid Sebastian being bullied at school. He wants his own fantasy world. Finds obviously the book, and yeah,
yep, yep, I agree. Okay, Emma Myers as Natalie. There was a chance here of this being a funny kind of guardian character. It's nothing in the end. It's nothing in
Mhm.
the end. Particularly as they decide to buddy her up with what I feel is a character that doesn't even need to be in this film. That if this
Yeah,
character wasn't in the film, it would make no difference because aside from a kind of real world funny thing about the petting zoo, the character of Danielle Brooks as Dawn. And here's the thing, right? Basically, here's the problem. Either Natalie needs to go or Dawn needs to go.
yeah.
One of them needs to go. One of them just does not need to be in this film. And they're interchangeable. They could both do the same role and it mean nothing. Both could be the guardian, the older sister, the whatever of Henry. All of that could work. But both of them together means they're stealing scenes from each other and
Yeah.
and feel far too similar. I don't know. I don't dislike any of the actors, but the characters just like, oh, right, that's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm just going to mention a couple of the sort of side characters who are kind of like got semi-prominent roles. Jennifer Coolidge as Marlene. Look, I'll say it now. I don't get the joke. I don't get the joke personally. But we'll talk a bit more about those scenes when they crop up.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Nitwit. Now, I'm going to mention the person that plays the voice actor because in a mid-credit scene, I was both happily surprised and outraged to hear the voice of the legendary Matt Berry doing the voice of Nitwit. Now, as a huge fan of What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, amongst other things that Matt Berry has done, I love Matt Berry. He is a legend. And I was just like, oh man, and if they're going to make a sequel, then they better utilize that man way better because he's got a voice for stuff like this. Uh, you look like you don't know who Matt Berry is. Do you know who Matt Berry is? Have you ever seen
Apart
the
from,
IT Crowd?
I haven't seen the IT crowd, no, but I might recognise his face, but the name I don't. It doesn't hit me now.
A lot of UK roles, a lot of big roles and stuff like that. Okay, Jared Hess as the voice of General Chungus. So yeah, the director does a voice. That's the general there, who I actually think has some funny lines. Here's
Yeah.
him and Steve's patter, like they became friends in prison, is actually would be kind of funny if we saw some of it.
Mm.
And to the best voice actor, I think in the film, Rachel House as the voice of Malgosha. And there is one scene at the end involving
Mm.
her and Jack Black, which is scene steal. It steals the film. I
Mm.
laughed so hard that I told my wife, I was like, this is worth what it's almost worth watching. Do you know what scene I'm talking about? I'm
Yeah,
talking
towards it.
about the fake outs, the
Yeah,
fake out knives. Honestly, even Jack Black is brilliant in that. That scene, when I get to honestly, I'm even laughing now. Fucking hilarious.
yeah.
Right, let's get into it because his name is Steve. Right, it's a funny start, even though immediately that's where I'm like Jack Black being Jack Black. But I thought this is quite a funny start where it kind of goes through the childhood. I appreciated the speed of it, flying through his obsession with mining as a kid to his disillusionment as an adult. I thought it was funny that as a child in the 80s, he yearned for the mines, but children were forbidden from entering it, so he grew up and became a doorknob salesman and lost sight of his dreams. This is where I think the Minecraft movie excels, where it's doing that thing, it can be anything it wants to be, right? It's
Yeah.
set, it had no rules. So because of that, I can picture it. What should he be? What should he be, right? What job should he have? What's the
Yeah.
most boring, inane job going? And a doorknob salesman, but also like that's silly enough for children to laugh at? I think a doorknob salesman's good.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why it appealed to the kids and why it made so much money. So,
But I also don't think, like, as an adult, I don't. We've talked about this before. I don't like films that speak down to children,
yeah,
implying well, kids are stupid, right? So they'll enjoy stupid shit. I think this part at the beginning gets the nice balance of being smart enough that adults can be like, yeah, that's quite funny because I
yeah,
laughed.
yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, he abandons his job and explores a mines, and there he finds the Orb of Dominance, which the joke is that it's not actually an orb, it's a cube.
Yeah.
And he also finds the Earth Crystal. And by putting together, Steve was able to enter the overworld, a place where he's able to build his own home from materials he picked up. It's the world of Minecraft. And I thought, yeah, you know what? It looks quite nice. I didn't hate the visuals. All right, it's a shit ton of green screen and CGI, but I
Yeah.
didn't hate it.
Yeah, it looked. I was impressed. You know,
Colourful.
I'm an avid Minecraft gamer, so yeah. So I enjoyed the visuals, but as you said, it's obviously a lot of green screen and a lot of CGI.
Of course, of course. We
Yeah,
should mention now, right? Actually, you did say you were an avid Minecraft player.
yeah,
I
yeah.
should point out that I'm not. I
Mm,
have played Minecraft, but I just simply couldn't get into it. And obviously,
yeah,
and the
no,
simple fact is, but there's a reason why, and it's simple as this. I recognize why it's addictive and lovable and likable and all of that, and I actually love the soundtrack. I listen
yeah,
to the Minecraft soundtrack on its own. It's very relaxing. Basically, I like games with a goal. Minecraft has none.
mm,
It's all about creativity. Hence
yeah.
why I struggled with it. But I also love the fact that that game exists and it's so huge, you know?
Never, it's never ending. You know, so literally, I noticed earlier that they've released more achievements for us. Now I've got to go back
Yeah,
to it again.
because of the
So,
movie. Yeah, because of the
yeah, yeah,
movie. Yeah. But I love what people well, some of the stuff I've seen what people have done in that game.
mm,
Obviously, there are lots of spin-offs. There's Minecraft Legends and stuff like that, but I'm not familiar with any of that stuff.
no, me neither. Just the standard Minecraft
The
game. If
standard
you want, yeah,
Minecraft, exactly that. Yeah. Anyway, Steve befriends a wolf named Dennis and they become companions within the world. However, one day while exploring, he stumbles across a portal to the Nether, a realm within Overworld that is home to the ruthless piglins led by the wicked sorceress Malgosha. She steals the orb from Steve and plots to use it to cast an eternal darkness across the overworld, since the piglins apparently can't step into light. Steve and Dennis stole back the orb, but they are captured, and Steve as Dennis escape in the real world to keep the orb and the crystals away from the piglins. And Dennis takes it back to Earth and hides it under Steve's bed, where it basically gets forgotten about completely. And that's our opening 10 minutes. Like
yeah,
all with Jack Black narration, but with visuals. And I was a bit like, I appreciate the speed, but also like, this is an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah,
What are we doing for the rest? Like, calm down, you know?
yeah. They basically told you the entire plot of the film in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we are about to grind to a halt as the kind of main rest of the cast are introduced.
Mm.
Because we cut to now, modern times, so to speak. And we meet Garrett, the garbage man Garrison, who basically is a former video game champion who has a store that sells like 80s goods and stuff like that. But he's stuck in his glory days based off how he looks and his outfit. And obviously, nobody really cares about stuff like that. And I thought that was the biggest bullshit thing in the film at all. Everybody is obsessed with nostalgia.
Yep.
Nostalgia makes the world go round. Do not tell me for a second that this guy's store wouldn't be hugely popular.
Well, literally, I absolutely love my entire flat is full of nostalgia. So you're always still, all the figures and
Yeah,
games, and yeah,
100%.
yeah,
And I mean, what have I been playing recently? The Tomb Raider packs, which are just
yeah. So,
remade versions of old games. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course we all do. So I did laugh at that. But unsurprisingly, he's in financial trouble and about to be evicted. He goes to a storage auction held by his friend Dow to try and get like a really rare Atari Cosmos console, figuring if he gets hold of that, he can sell it. But ends up finding nothing in there except the orb and the crystal, which is inside a box. But obviously he doesn't know what they are, nor does he really, really care. Yeah, I was quite surprised how quickly we get to the point where those are in Garrett's hands.
yeah. Again, it's like we're only like 20 to 30 minutes, it was 20, 25 minutes into the film. It's all happening quite fast. So
I got,
I was worried because I was like, well, there's still like over an hour left.
I
What are they
was
going to do?
worried because it felt like they wanted us to get into the Minecraft world, and then I was like, oh, are we just gonna have like antics, 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 and really slow down? And basically we do. But
Mm,
also I will point out it at least at this point in the film, the story it's telling a story. It's
mm,
we've got a character, we've got a reason for his existence, and we've got a reason as to why he might end up in the Minecraft world.
mm.
Now on to the characters who don't necessarily have a reason, but will end up there anyway. A young woman named Natalie and her teenage brother Henry. They've moved to the town of Chuglis following the death of their mother. Natalie has started a job at the local potato chip factory, working on the company's social media, while Henry has started attending new school. Again, this is the stuff I like. You can picture the like, well, what should Natalie be doing as a job, right? Like, and
Yeah,
the idea of just bouncing around the room. What's funny but just works well enough to be real, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Henry meets Vice Principal Marlene, goes to his first class where he tries to demonstrate a jetpack model he's crafted after basically being talked into it by a bully. But those bullies cut a wire, which causes the jetpack to fly out of control and crash into a big town mascot, a mascot called Chuggy. Panicking, in trouble, Henry calls Garrett, who we should point out he actually met earlier on when he stopped by his store. And
Yeah.
basically, he begs him, look, I need your help. Can you pretend to be my uncle? And obviously, Garrett's like, no. But then he gets offered 26 bucks. So, like, he says, okay. And
Yeah,
that's just, this is why I think Jason Momoa is funny in that because he's got that affable coolness. He's in his
yeah.
car and he's all like, yeah, no. And then it's like, I got 26 bucks and it's sit upright. And it's like, that's where I'm like, this is kind of funny,
Mm.
you know?
So I think when I first saw the trailer of it, I did not like his character at all.
Yeah, I
But
hated
but
him.
his portrayal in the film change it does change your mind of his character. So
I didn't like it because it was the most basic, boring, and it is still in the film. Oh, here's a guy, 80s rocker, living, and like the long hair and
yeah,
the jacket, and honestly, the fact that he used so many real world tracks and naturally hit all his stuff is like Guns N' Roses and things like that.
yeah,
That's what I didn't particularly care for. And obviously in the trailer that was heightened. I think it works better in the film, and only because Jason Momoa is so affable, you
mm,
know. One of my favorite Jason Momoa scenes comes from the Justice League, and I think it's where he shows his range. It's where he accidentally sits on the lasso of truth and
mm,
starts to get all emotional, talking about how scared he is in front of Batman, Wonder Woman, the Flash, and all that. Whenever I think of Jason Momoa, I think of that, and I'm like,
mm.
yeah, I love this guy. He's fucking great. He's also hot, but then they come across the orb and crystal back at Garrett's store. And they find the note from Steve which says not to use the orb, saying that, don't be tempted by riches, there's danger ahead and all of that. Honestly, look, again, that's so stupid. It makes me laugh. Like,
Yeah,
first off, when did he write that note? We didn't see that. And all of that. But also the idea that, like, I'll write a note to warn people, but I'll mention the thing that will probably tempt people.
yep,
I also love that there's no real hesitation from Henry at all. There's no like, should we? Oh, what all that? No one. He looks at Garrett. They look at each other, and it's just like, yep. And I was like,
yep.
yeah, I think that's what we'd all do. I think
I
we'd all
think the
do
same.
that.
Yeah,
And that basically pulls him and Garrett towards the mine. Meanwhile, Natalie contacts Dawn, the real estate agent that sold her and Henry their house, but also runs a mobile petting zoo. And this is the sort of random aspect of this character again. Again, I like the idea of the creativity, but I go
yeah,
back to what I said at the start. Not both, one of them, not both of them, because they're going to
yeah.
steal scene time from each other.
Yeah, but it was also the problem, the fact that they rushed so much in the first 20 minutes that now you have the really, really, really slow down moments now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, the two find Henry and Garrett in the mines with Dennis watching them from outside. The portal to the overworld opens and they're all pulled inside, and we see while they enter the Minecraft world, a villager sneaks out. Why, I don't know, but hey ho, we're going to get a couple of cutscenes here to make that more amusing. Malgosha and the piglins are alerted to the Orc's return, which gives Steve an opportunity to escape and leave the Nether. Of course, the four are surprised by how the overworld looks. Oh, take it all in. All right, look. I'm not. I don't know, man. I feel like this is where maybe you don't get the best acting. I don't know what I want,
Yeah,
but maybe if I get pulled for a portal into another world that looks like this, I want my reaction to be more than just like, oh. I want to be like, like I was scared almost. I don't know what
like,
it is.
holy shit! Well, obviously they can't swear because obviously the
Mm.
PG film. So, but yeah, yeah,
But while I was kind of ho humming the movie at this point, we are now going to get to one of film's best moments. As it attacks turns to night. So the first time it turns to night is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. And they're attacked by the skeletons and zombies with Henry figuring and of course the creeper scenes. It's honestly very, very funny. Another great Jason Momoa set of scenes, particularly as Henry figures out how to build, makes a fortress for himself, and gets the others in to higher ground. However, they're still under attack. Steve now arrives and they fight the monsters. But during this, Garrett accidentally destroys the Earth crystal, leaving them obviously trapped within inside the world. Yeah, I thought this was one of the better sequences of the film. I thought it was funny. I thought it looked good. I enjoyed this.
yeah, yeah. I agree. It was very entertaining, and the CGI was
Yeah,
decent. Yeah, I
yeah.
enjoyed it. Yeah,
I'd go. You're not being fair. The CGI was decent. The CGI was
okay.
good, dude.
It was
Good.
good. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was
We've
good. Then, yeah,
seen decent CGI. Let's give
yeah.
it props, yeah? £150 million worth of fucking CGI, mate.
Buddy, 100 of that was on Jack Black.
No
So,
way. He is no way
no,
that expensive.
yeah,
No way. I don't. I actually think probably the cast was. Oh, don't get me wrong. He probably commands a good fee. But I reckon the cast is probably where they managed to save a bit of money.
yeah. Jason Momoa and Jack Black, 5 million each.
I reckon Jack Black probably is a little bit more expensive than that, and a bit more than Jason Momoa. But there we go.
Yeah,
Anyway, what do we know? The morning comes back, and the rest of the monsters burn up in the sun. So we get to see how it works when the morning comes for the night creatures. Steve tells the four that they can replace the Earth crystal, but they need to find the woodland mansion to do so, and the journey will be perilous. And we do get a fun. It's Steve's guide to the overworld, and I do appreciate this is where the film could have really got stuck because
mm,
like here's the journey, right? But by keeping it really snappy and Steve's guide to the overworld done in kind of Jack Black fashion, it kind of makes things feel a bit more energized. He shows them the village, the inhabitants that live there, and how easy it is to build things there. Lots of Minecraft information here, focusing mainly on creativity. However, I will acknowledge, right, it's quite talky. It's quite just Jack Black explaining to you how things work.
yeah,
Uh, I know this is difficult, right? They had to kind of do this. They had to do this. but I don't know how they could have done it in a more natural way. They probably got the best actor to do it because Jack
Yeah.
Black's energy and bombastic voice does make it sound more interesting, I think.
It was always going to be a problem because obviously in Minecraft you control the main character. You have no one else around you, so you ain't got to explain it. You learn this by playing the game.
You learn by doing. You learn by
Yeah,
doing. You can't
exactly.
do
Yeah,
that in a film. A film is visual and audio. You
yeah,
know? I think it's difficult. I did acknowledge it was too talky, and they probably didn't need to put all that information in about how to combine items and things like that. That I
yeah.
thought was a bit weird, but it's not a big deal.
Mm.
Meanwhile, in the real world, the villager, one that we will later know as Nitwit, accidentally gets hit by Marlene's car, and when she comes to checking him, she's like in awe of him. Oh, fucking! Is she mental? Clearly.
Yeah,
And she invites him out to dinner. So that's going to be the running joke. Marlene and Nitwet having dinner. Garrett wants diamonds, but Steve says it's a dangerous detour. And Garrett insists that he takes it to the mines, otherwise he won't give them the orb. So we're getting a kind of like light villain angle. This is going to be lazily done.
yeah,
Where it's where like Garrett's greed, like I think we could have. They really don't want to make Garrett look bad, so they're really doing this so lightly. Where Garrett's greed will put him at loggerheads with others, except none of it is earned because
yeah,
him and Henry's relationship is so basic. So later, when like Henry gets angry at Garrett for putting them at risk for the diamonds, it all feels a bit like, oh, is that it? You
yeah,
know, is that it? Yeah, you know what I
yeah,
mean. I look. I like the characters, the character of Garrett, but I recognize that while he is the most developed, that development is so minor
yeah,
nonetheless.
exactly.
The Piglins now arrive, led by General Chungus, and start attacking the village. Steve, Garrett, and Henry get separated from Natalie and Dawn in the battle. I think this is where the film is at its worst.
Mm.
This is messy. It's ugly to look at. I had no idea half the time what was going on because
Yeah,
there's too many things happening on screen. And
yeah,
here's the problem. Here is the biggest problem that CGI suffers from, animation like this suffers from. When everything is just CGI animation and all of that, my eyes start to get used to it. And what I
mm.
start to notice is the problems.
Yeah,
And in scenes like this, where it's just a constant at my screen, I was like, that's ugly. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. The only thing that is good is the conversation, the shouting conversation between Steve, Jack Black, and General Chungus,
mm.
because apparently they had a grew a friendship, or Chungus thought they had a friendship
Yeah,
from Jack Black's time in the mines. There's some funny lines here, but I really didn't like this, and it leads to it. And the worst thing is, it goes on for ages,
mm.
leading to the worst, most unfunny scene in the film. And it was in the trailer. And the moment I saw it in the trailer, I thought, that's going to suck.
Yeah. I mean, so the biggest thing you were saying there about the messy and the CGI thing, the issue is that adults can spot that, children won't care. Hence why it made so much money.
Yeah, right. Yes. I mean, not care is the wrong. I think that.
I won't even notice it.
I think of a certain age, lots of things happen on the screen is entertaining for a young, depending on an age. But I
Mm.
also think like it's not so much that I'm as an adult that I'm being overly analytical. It's more the fact that my eyes go, oh, I don't like, I can't concentrate. It's like looking at static after a while. Your eyes just start to ache because it's so uncomfortable to look at more than anything
Yeah.
else, and that affects everyone, I think.
Mm.
Anyway, the guys manage to escape the piglins, and basically it involves Jack Black having created some sort of flying contraptions that they can all use.
Yeah.
It takes ages for this to get started because first one person falls, then uses it, and then the next person falls, and yay. I didn't get that, why that was so dragged out. The sight of Jack Black riding Jason Momoa and using his hair as a steering wheel is initially funny. I was like,
Mm.
okay, that is fucking funny to look at.
Yeah.
However, this goes on for ages and ends up with them doing some sort of half-hearted, hey, we're being really weird and uncomfortable because we have to get ourselves in the 69 position, get closer
Yeah.
and closer, act like we're uncomfortable about this just to shoot. And all while the character of Jack Black, well, Jack Black, the actor, sorry, just talks us through it really, really oddly. It
Yeah.
was in the trailer. It looked like it was done in the trailer. It's even dumber in the film because it goes on for ages. I'm going to be straight up for this. I didn't think it was funny.
Now, as you said, initially it looked entertaining with obviously Jack Black pulling the hair, but then, as you said, yeah, it just was not entertaining, and as
Yeah.
you said, it was very sexualized. That part there, and they seem to always put certain things in films for like an adult joke, and that to me was like the adult joke there, but it was just boring.
Yeah, but it was weird because it's the only real
Yeah,
time they kind of do anything like that. And don't get me wrong, it's not like it's not obvious. It's not like hugely. And I'd say really it's about how person perceives it more than anything else. But when like Steve's or Jack Black's like, I keep seeing the fact I keep calling him Jack Black as the character. Steve's the
I know.
character. That's the big oh, but when Lay's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to get tighter. And like Jason Momoa, Garrett's like, oh no, like that's where it's kind of like, oh okay, are we doing a whole like
Yeah,
thing? Anyway, at dinner, Marlene finds herself falling for Nitwit, even though he doesn't speak. She's just talking at him. Look, I like Jennifer Coolidge. Jennifer Coolidge is funny, you know. I know her best really for one particular thing more than anything else. American Pie. I am. It all depends what age you are, I think, as well. And where of the age will we recognize that? You know,
yeah.
Stifler's mom. Steve then gives us the backstory of Malgosha, who turned evil when her dream of being a dancer was crushed. If she gets the orb, she'll black out the sun. Right, first off, don't just repeat what we already were told. I really right. So I have a problem here, and this highlighted it. The
Mm,
whole like, hey, backstory, seeing her kind of failed dancer and the piglins and all that. I did think it originally, but here it got a little bit more obvious. Stop! It's two pigs. The pig stuff and the pig like and the pigs. It's Angry Birds movie. Stop doing that. Like I know it's a similar thing and they can't get around that. But like this scene where like she in the world and she was a failed dancer and what she's being mocked by her father. It felt very much like her father reminded me of the king from
yeah.
Angry Birds movie. You know, I thought it was a little bit too close to that.
Well, see, obviously, this character in the Minecraft that I've played, she's not in this. She might be
Right.
in another one.
Legends. I think this is where I think Minecraft Legends is the one that's kind of got a story and all of that. I
Yeah,
think that's what it is. I think a lot of it
mm,
comes from that, you know? But I don't know because I've never played it.
yeah,
Anyway, Chungus returns to Margosha and gets executed for his failure, so she sends her creation, the Great Hog, to find the heroes, which is just a big angry pig.
yeah,
Natalie and Dawn are lost. Oh yeah, remember their thing? Having to deal with the creatures of the night, but end up finding Dennis, who leads them where Steve is. So during this, we get what's supposed to be a bonding scene, but really they're just talking at each other,
yeah,
and their lines and dialogue is constantly designed. Well, it's trailer stuff.
yeah,
It's trailer fodder. I really, really, I just don't get why it's two of them. I just
yeah.
keep coming back to that because even one of them lost alone, having to deal with monsters, and then finding Dennis and bonding with Dennis would make sense.
It would have made much more sense because the whole purpose of the game is you being by yourself, you being
Yeah.
the only character.
Steve, Garrett, and Henry make it to the Redstone Mine, where Garrett is happy to see lots of diamonds, but Henry here is dismayed by Garrett's greediness. Now, again, that's what I was talking about. I was like, look, they don't. I was just like, look, they do not have the relationship for this to work, so don't even try it, Phil. But do you know what pissed me off even more? And I hate this sometimes about younger characters. Easy for you to act this way, Henry, right? He's in
Yeah,
financial trouble, about to be evicted. And let's be honest, man, like, what harm is it going to do to take some diamonds?
yeah.
Like, it's all because basically they've had to take a detour. That means that he's worried he won't meet up with Natalie. But Natalie's lost anyway. Why do you like something saying like honestly, I thought this was a little bit unearned. They're found and attacked by the great hog, running for their lives and getting into a mine cart to escape it. Happily, while this isn't particularly interesting from the great hog perspective because it's nothing particularly clever, we
Mm,
get a very cool creeper scene. Listen, the creepers are used very, very well in this film. And I
yeah,
like this scene as well. It's Steve's creeper farm. And I like the fact that you do get to see scenes like Gavin, like, why have you got one of those? You
yeah,
know? And they're able to also use creeper explosion to destroy the Great Hog, which I thought was cool. Except in a bit, they're basically going to go, well, that was pointless because she just brings it back.
yep.
That was so dumb. Anyway, outside, Henry has a go at Garrett, who breaks down and admits his problems, and Henry forgives him. I was genuinely like, oh my God. Like, here's the thing. It is one of the better scenes in the film because Momoa does emotion well and really expresses how he finally reckon like deep down he knows he's a loser. He knows he is. And
Yeah,
but he's been pretending and trying it. And Henry even's kind of like he does that thing where he's like, I'm annoyed with you. And then he's like, after hearing this, he's kind of like, you know what, it's okay. It's not like a big, oh, come here, buddy. It's just like, you know what, it's
yeah,
okay. It's just okay. I get it. It's okay.
yeah,
But I was also like, you guys have not earned this fucking scene. You have not earned this at all.
yeah.
Nor has Steve Garrett being like, hey, maybe we can be friends. It's like, guys, come on, man.
I know.
The only thing that saves it is that, honestly, Jack Black and Jason Momoa have chemistry.
Yeah,
When they're
yeah,
together, they are like, I'm like, God, I want to see a movie with just you two.
yeah,
You
yeah. So
know?
they definitely get along very, very well in the roles together. So yeah, so it would be interesting. Yeah,
Right, the dinner with Marlene and Nitwit is still happening. So I have a question, Damon, I wanted to ask you. And you tell me how you find it. Are these scenes with Marlene and Nitwit funny? Do you like them? Are you getting anything from them?
Absolutely pointless. Absolutely
I
pointless.
yeah, no, right. A lot of this movie's pointless. But are
Okay.
you finding them funny?
No, no,
Right.
nope.
That's
Had
it. That's all I wanted to
no
know.
interest at all. Yep.
No, same. I don't I don't care that they exist because Minecraft movie and they were mainly for a trailer anyway. But I
Yeah.
was at this point where I was like, am I supposed to find this funny? I didn't find it funny. There we go.
Yep.
All right, Steve Garrett and Henry make it to the Woodland Mansion where the men cause a distraction so Henry can find the Earth Crystal. The singing song I didn't like. Oh, I kind of glossed over it. We should go back, actually. I apologize. I glossed over. I didn't write the notes down. You criticized obviously, there are a lot of memed moments in this, and obviously the
Yeah.
lava chicken is one of them from earlier on when he's showing, when Jack Black is showing everyone around the village. As soon as it happened, my whole body cringed because I was like, oh, I only know it from the meme. So I
Yeah.
cringed.
Yeah.
Um, Listen, this whole Jack Black shouting out and announcing thing, I know why it did. I know why it happened. It was a kind of discussion between the director and they thought it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. I think it gives him a unique voice. It gives the character of Steve a unique voice that at least makes this version of Jack Black stand out. Because
Mm.
I'll recognize this version of Jack Black as the version of Jack Black that shouts out what he sees, you know? And I think,
Yeah.
well, that's something, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but this whole song bit with him and Garrett playing like a distraction rock song or pop synthy pop song, I didn't think it was very memorable, unfortunately. Steve Garrett though end up having a fight. Well, here we are, the most memed moment of the film. Fight a sort of weird Frankenstein monster in a ring riding a chicken. It is, of course, and go nuts, people. Chicken jockey. Look, I'm not going to talk about the craze and the meme and all of that. I think the cinema going experience these days is one of the worst things. I don't go to the cinema anymore because I hate it. I've hated it for many years. I've never really liked it, but I've hated it for many years because I think people are the worst at cinemas. I think they grew up, a large proportion of people have forgotten how to behave like a decent human being, treating it like their home, treating it like in a living room. So I'd much rather wait for a film to come on streaming and watch it at home. It does mean I end up missing out on films that I would like to see in the cinema, but I generally get so uncomfortable. It's a personal. I get anxiety in cinemas now. The only way I can see films in cinema is I have to wait until they're they're almost out of the cinema. Like it's the last day of showing, so nobody's going anymore. So like their cinema is basically empty, and I have to watch it at like 10 o'clock at night kind of thing. And even
Yeah.
then, I feel super anxious about it. Yeah, it's a me problem. But the idea of being in a Minecraft movie and having people screaming and shouting and diving over me while this happened, I think I'd have had to leave. I'd have had to
Yeah.
leave. I'd have hated it so much. I I think enjoy a film your own way, but if you're ruining it for others, I think that makes you a bit of a knob. Simple as that. When all this blew up, I hadn't seen this film. It immediately made me dislike the film. No fault of the film.
Yep.
No fault of the film. I just think it's people being stupid. And like all things, it starts off as it becomes viral and a craze, and then everybody tries to ruin it
Yeah.
because everybody wants a piece of that pie. And then my favorite thing happens. My favorite thing happens that kills it dead. Corporations get involved. and be like, how can we make money off this? And that kills it dead. Love it when
Yep.
they try and get involved. So yeah, when the chicken jockey bit happened, I was like, oh, okay, there it is.
No, consider I'm a massive. I've put in tens of thousands of hours into Minecraft, and I never even heard of a chicken jockey, and it clearly is not in the game that I've played. Again, it must be from their legacies because I've never even heard of it, and I've got I've got 130 achievements, hundreds of hours,
It
never
might
heard of
even be in the game. It's just, I think it's just a fact. What they did was they created a situation where because he announces things, it creates that chilling moment. And because it was
it. Yeah,
in the trailer, they made it like it was such a big deal, you
I
know,
know.
and that's, I think, what it is. Like, it is, don't get me wrong, an almost cheer moment, you
Mm,
know, like I do kind of get that. However, if you want me to sum up this entire sequence in the ring, I don't. It's not that I don't care for it.
average, it's not funny.
I
It's
don't really
yeah,
get it. Like I just
yeah,
don't really
yeah.
get it, you know. And I don't get me wrong. It's not supposed to be like you're not supposed to understand it. It's
Mm,
random. It's random shit. It's Minecraft. But I just wasn't. I wasn't particularly entertained.
yeah,
Anyway, Henry is making his way through the mansion, finding the Earth Crystal eventually, but is found by an Enderman, which are these sort of monstrous creatures that use psychological torture to attack the boy, projecting Steve, Garrett, and Natalie saying mean things to him. Hey, this would have been cool if this character was worth anything. If I
yeah,
really believed or cared that A had relationships with any of these. Jesus Christ, he had like one scene with Natalie at the beginning of the film. They've been separated pretty much ever since. Come on, God. Like, I'm not by. Who is Steve to him? Why would Steve saying, hey, you're not that creative, really matter to this boy? Who are they to each other? Man,
yeah,
honestly, I swear stuff like this is where I get annoyed with it because it's now trying to tell us to have deeper aspects to its story. And it's like, you've done nothing to earn this. You
yeah,
can't also have these scenes at the same time as Jack Black is screaming, chicken jockey!
yeah.
And bouncing off rings with Garrett. Like, you just can't, man.
Yeah, they tried to build a massive relationship within about 50 minutes of a film or an hour of the film, and it's just too short, way too short a time.
Well,
You
but
can't do it.
it would be fine even in a short period of time if they'd actually done it. It's the fact that
Yeah.
they haven't.
Mm.
Anyway, Henry uses his axe to fight the Enderman, and after it's defeated, Henry gets an Ender Pearl, which is basically it can teleport the user wherever they launch it. I wonder if that's going to come into play at the end of the film.
Yeah.
At the same time, Steve saves Garrett, and together with Henry, they all leave. As they're leaving, though, they're found by Malgosha Anna, or our army. She gets the orb back, reveals that she's created another great hog, and the other piglins attack, planning to blow up the bridge they're on, as we see in TNT. Steve and Henry make it on a hot air balloon, while Garrett stays behind to fight the piglins in a moment of self-sacrifice, and is seemingly killed when it blows up, as Steve and Henry are blown away by the force and crash elsewhere. And I'm just like, yeah, he's definitely dead. In this kid's film, he is definitely dead. I am definitely buying into this. He's definitely dead. Now, to
Yep.
be fair, I don't think the film really cares if you believe he's dead or not. I think they know exactly what they're doing. It is the most basic bitch. We're going to pretend he's dead and he's going to come back in and save the day at the end. And
Yep.
I think the film is doing it on purpose. So I
How
forgive
many?
it. I forgive it for that.
Literally, how many films have done that? It's literally so many films. That, I mean, Jesus Christ! Even Lord of the Rings did it with Aragorn. For God's sake, he's dead.
Exactly. In fact, yes. The fact that you use a great film like that as an example of doing one of the dumbest moments of it, you
Yeah.
know how several we even get more than that with like Frodo and use the spider and all of that shit. If a great film can do it, a basic film can do it. I
Yeah.
am not going to criticize Minecraft movie for doing that. It just
Yeah.
made me laugh. The idea that even if like you were willing, I wanted to picture a person out there, whatever age, going,
Yeah.
Garrett, no, because I don't believe even a kid would be convinced.
Mm.
Steve and Henry wake up to find they're rescued by Dawn, Natalie, and Dennis because, there you go, reunited. You know what?
Yep.
I didn't care. I was like, we got to get there. Who cares?
Yep.
They all reunite, but are sad about Garrett. The fact that Dawn and Natalie are, and I'm like, did you? I actually had to go, wait, did you actually meet him? And I'm like, well, technically you did. You were in a scene together at
Mm.
the beginning when you all got pulled into the world. But I listen, I'd be sad for anyone dying. You know, like 'cause even if I didn't know them, if like they were part of our group or whatever, and someone said, look, they died. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, oh shit, that sucks.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like, you know, like because I just didn't know them personally enough. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have sympathy and you can be empathetic, I think,
Yeah.
more than anything else. Anyway, meanwhile, Malgosia uses the orb to cast darkness across the overworld, and it's a free-for-all as her armies emerge. And seeing this, Steve is despondent. And together they all decide they have to fight back and stop her. On three, Minecraft! Their plan? They build an army of iron golems to battle Malgosia and the piglins. The battle starts. This is fun. This is done better than the first one because it
Yeah.
focuses on specific characters as well. However, as well, I just want to point out a funny right. So we did say at the start, but I just want to remind you that the character, the voice actor of Malgosia, Rachel Howes, is brilliant in this. And a good
Yeah.
example of that is when they have the Iron Golems all lined up. She's like, "Oh, Iron Golems, one attack and that's provoked," and in a fucking brilliant reference to Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. One of the piglins lets loose an arrow early, hitting one of the iron golems and starting the battle.
Yeah.
I thought that was outrageously brilliant. Did you realize it was a reference to the Two Towers?
I did. When I first saw the film, like 6 months ago, I didn't. But then when I was on YouTube reading through the comments and someone saw it, I thought, oh shit, of course it is.
Right?
And it is absolute genius. It's kind of yeah.
What got me, what made me realize it was the fact that he had a shaky hat, and I was like, wait, isn't that? And I was like, oh, that's so brilliant. Like I thought that is a genuine Easter egg I
Yeah.
loved. And there were a lot of Easter eggs referenced to films and the Minecraft
Yeah.
world and all that throughout. But that was one that made me genuinely laugh. Because as
Mm.
well, Rachel Howes sells it so brilliant. When it hits down Golden, the Iron Golden just looks down and she's like, oh, okay then. I was just like, that's just funny. That's funny.
It is funny, yeah.
Right, the battle starts. Henry focuses on making his way to the top of Magusha's tower to get back the orb. Obviously, the Ender Pearl is used here, teleporting him to the top, while Natalie, Dawn, and Dennis faces off with a new version of the Great Hog. On top, Henry goes for the orb, but Malgosha fires at the tower, which knocks Henry off. He's falling to his death. Who's going to save him? As here comes Garrett flying in and riding on a hot air balloon. What?
Yeah, shocking.
What? I know. Together they destroy the tower and take back the orb, and with that, day returns and the creatures of the night melt away. Right, I have a question for you.
Mm.
Did you not find this a little, just slightly disturbing? The way their bodies start to sort of melt away, I actually thought it was kind of, I was like, oh, that's kind of horrible. I know they're bad guys, but like, that's horrible,
Mm.
right? I thought it was a bit gross.
Yeah. I can see it. Yeah. It was a bit off-putting, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Right. Leading to the best scene in the film. As Malgosha, weakened and defeated, is approached by Steve. And I'm just going to sum it up. We get a hilarious back and forth as first she's like, come closer, come closer. And then she tries to sneak attack him, stab him with a knife. But she's so weak, she misses. And Jack Black's brilliant at this. He's just like, oh, come on, what are you doing? All that kind of thing. And he goes to walk over. And she's like, no, I'm really sorry. I swear I've got to tell you something. Come closer, come closer. Does it again, and he's just like furious now. He's like, right, and then she tries it a third time and tries to weakly throw the knife at him. Honestly, that scene is worth watching the film alone. Brilliant act, brilliant. Loved it. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I definitely watched that. I watched them more than once and had a laugh. So
It's just so funny. Yeah. All right, the portal to the real world is open once again, and Steve asks Henry if he's sure he doesn't want to stay, and Henry says, look, I'm ready to leave. Whatever.
yeah.
Steve sings goodbye to Dennis, who was going with Dawn. Okay. They must have built a relationship I missed. I think there was probably scenes cut of theirs.
Yeah.
And everyone else says their goodbyes, with Garrett asking Steve to come home with him. Steve wants to stay behind us since he feels there is nothing in the real world that the real world has to offer him. And then randomly, Nat is like, well, maybe you have things to offer the real world. And Steve's like, all right, then, cool, I'll come with you. I was like, wow, that was a sudden change, you know?
Bastard.
I think the wrong character said that to him.
Mm.
Why is that, first off, not Henry? Shouldn't that be Henry who says that to him? The one who
Yep.
actually had a kind of relationship with him, or Garrett? Right? Like,
You, you, you
what?
you would think so, yeah, but yeah, obviously they have to give us some lines at least.
I felt like it was that. I was like, well, let's give like them some like because they've done so little.
Yeah,
Honestly, yeah. So Steve decides to return to the real world, and in the closing narration, Steve talks about how everybody is up to now. With Steve's help, Garrett was able to save his store, and they created a new arcade game, which has become really popular. It looked crap.
yeah.
Um, Dawn, I can't believe, right? Maybe this was me overthinking it, but I thought when they were like, "Oh, we made a new," I thought it was going to be Minecraft.
That's what I thought too.
Right? But it
Would have
wasn't. This is like a beat 'em up.
perfect sense, Minecraft. Yeah,
Yeah. Dawn uses Dennis and other overworld animals to help boost her petting zoo business because we all really cared about that.
yeah,
Fucking honestly, sometimes this film is just on it really, really whatever. Natalie has started a self-defense course for kids based on how she learned to fight in the overworld. And then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot there was that scene in the original Battle in the Village where
yeah.
her and Dawn were like, hey, you fight really, yeah, that scene.
You know what?
Right?
Yeah, the petting zoo is such a big thing. Yeah, it's because the fact that a lot of builders in Minecraft, like the creators, they always build massive zoos with with animals in there. That's why they put it in as a little like, oh, this is something that you might do.
Oh,
You
that's
know? Yeah,
cool. All right, well
yeah,
done. I didn't really realize that. Okay.
yeah,
Apparently, Henry fixed his jetpack and is now more popular with his classmates. Wow, is that the best we could come up with, Henry?
yeah,
And then we see Steve and the others having a party at Garrett's store to end the film. But we have a mid and post credit scene. However, neither is really. It's not like it's not set up in a way to kind of sequel bait, but more about, oh, this is a nice little things. As we said at the start of this review and talk through, the sequel could be anything it wants to be. It's Minecraft, so I don't
yeah,
think they needed to sequel bait anything. However, we have a mid-credit scene where Marlene reveals to her ex-husband, which is Henry's teacher, by the way, declares to her ex-husband that she's now engaged to Nitwit. And this is where we see Nitwit speaks, revealing that his love for Marlene has helped transcend the language barriers. And it is Matt Berry. Listen, it's one of those that if you don't know Matt Berry and love Matt Berry, you might be like, that's weird. Or you might laugh at the fact that he speaks in such a flamboyant way. But that
yeah.
is a Matt Berry. I love Matt Berry. So there you go. I was annoyed. I was angry. I said to my wife, Lou, they had Matt Berry in this film and they did not use him properly.
No ways to go.
And at the end, so all the way through the credits, Steve returns to his former home to get other items he left there. And the door opens and he meets the house's current owner from the back, which is Alex. Now, as someone who does not know Minecraft, I was like, is this supposed to be important? I did not get it. So I
Yeah,
quickly Googled and then I realized, oh, Alex is the female version of Steve,
yeah,
basically. And I
yeah.
was like,
A
oh,
better
okay, that
character.
makes sense. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know because I don't know Minecraft well enough. So yeah, I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. And that was Minecraft movie. And then I sat there for about an hour, just staring into space, trying to decide what the hell I felt about this movie. Oh, it wasn't actually that long, but I sat down and I thought, what did I actually feel about this movie? And I kept coming back to this one thing. I was, in the words of Maximus, Diridius Minimus Men, I was entertained overall. I realized
Yeah,
that at its core, even all the stuff that I didn't like, all the things I didn't enjoy, all the times where I was like, oh, that's a bit dumb, or I didn't like this, or I didn't wish they had done this, or all of that stuff, I was like, but I was entertained. There were times where I thought it was very funny, very entertaining, very silly, and times where I thought, yeah, that works, and all of that. And then I thought, and then I was like, that's all it wants me to be. It isn't. It is not trying to be highbrow cinema. It is not
yeah,
trying to say anything. It is not trying to be comparative to a fucking goddamn epic. It's not goddamn Citizen Kane. It's not trying to be anything but a creative movie that entertains a wide array of audience. It is not a good film by conventional standards. It doesn't have the best acting. It doesn't have a good story. It doesn't have good characters. It isn't the best looking. It's not the best told. The pacing's all over the place. All of this is problematic. It is all of that. But it's still entertaining because It wanted to do that, and that's all it wanted to do. I don't think that means it gets a pass, but if you're generally asking me, Carl, Minecraft video game movie adaptation, is it a recommended watch? I'm like, you should watch this. You should watch this at least once. You only need to watch it once. It is not a film you replay. But I could also see this, right? A group of people around. I think this should happen. We should do this in the future, way down the line. When basically I moved into my new place and all of that, I'm going to create a little cinema section. We're going to get you around. We're going to have a couple of people around. We're going to get some beers, some nachos. I'm going to put films like this on in the background. This is what you do with a Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
And we make it fun on a smaller scale rather than a large. And that's what I think it is. I think it's a popcorn film.
Yeah.
I think it is perfect. And I think that's why it made so much money. Listen, does that make me happy? No. I know what I want to be successful. But I don't get my way. I don't get to pick and choose. I know what I want to be successful. But, Damon, here's Welcome to Raccoon City. And here's a Minecraft movie. Carl, what would you rather watch again? Oh my God, you won't even finish the sentence before I say I'm watching a Minecraft movie, you fuckers. And you see, that's the difference to me. That's it there. One is more creative because it just went, my job is to entertain you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do everything possible to try and do that, even if it doesn't always work. But what doesn't work for me will work for others. What I thought was funny, others might not. It's so subjective. But I do think they embodied an aspect of Minecraft that's so important. It is creative. We talked about the start and the references and the things about how, like, you can see them sitting in a room as a group and being like, what if we did this? What if we did that? What if we did that? But also we're very careful to not be like, not too random. Because they could have gone crazy random and then it would have just been nonsensical. Which would have been arguably Minecraft, but it wouldn't have then felt like a flowing movie. Yeah. I'm gonna say it. I think this is okay. I think this is better than I expected.
Yeah, I think it was okay. I probably wouldn't watch it again unless the kids wanted to see it or something. But I think that the biggest issue for me was, and we talked about it at the beginning, was the fact that when you have like 6 or 7 writers, it's always going to be difficult to make a film because they're all firing different ideas.
It doesn't flow.
Together.
You're absolutely right. It doesn't flow. It's like chunks jammed together with very, very thin veins connecting them. You're 100% right. It doesn't flow.
But as you said, if there was a choice between watching that again or play Resident Evil, as you said, Raccoon City, I'm choosing Minecraft, of course. So.
That's it. I wanted to be entertained, and I was entertained, and I didn't expect to be. I went in with low expectations, and maybe that helped. Maybe if I'd gone, but then how could I have high expectations? It's a Minecraft movie. How is it the stuff that really shouldn't be possible to turn into films are the ones that are being really, really coming out the best? Sonic, Mario, Minecraft. What the like? Why is it that the stuff that should be easier to turn into film? You know what we need to do? I'm now convinced this more and more. Abandon the video game side of things.
Yeah.
The Sonic, Mario, Minecraft, hell, even the shows we watch, like Castlevania and stuff like that. Use the games as inspiration, use elements of it, but just do your own thing. Yeah. And you will end up being better for it. Do you agree? You kind of got to agree with that.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Listen, there it is. It's a Minecraft movie, and while I may not love your penchant for chicken jockeys, I support your right to love a chicken jockey. You got any thoughts on this? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.